Welcome game chasers everywhere to episode 7 of The Collecting Confidant with your host GunstarHero, and I'm back this week with another banger coming from limitedrungames.com, and of course this is going to be from one of my most beloved developer publishers, WayForward. This week we're talking about Shantae and the Seven Sirens, which is now getting a PS5 version and is currently open for pre-order until Sunday, May 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the typical limited run deadline. Now, this isn't a new release, quote unquote, but is an updated release. You may already have either the PS4 or Switch version of this, like I do, which came out quite a while back, but this was the standard pre-update version. We're going to get into why you may want to consider getting the PS5 version as well, even if you did buy the older version, but this is the one I am currently playing, okay? Now, what's nice about this is if you do have the old versions, you can actually get a free update, which came out back in November 2021, and this will give you the definitive version of the game, including all DLC. But the PS5 version is going to include all of that. Before we get into the main differences, let's talk about the game itself and why you should be excited and keep this open for a potential pre-order. The Shantae series, this is the 5th game in the series. So the Shantae series is this wonderful, hand-drawn Metroidvania series that goes back all the way to the Game Boy Color with the original Shantae. Then a couple of games came out on the Game Boy Advance, and then we had the 4th and 5th versions, which came out on all platforms. Now, the original version of Shantae and the Seven Sirens debuted on Apple Arcade back in September of 2019. Then in May of 2020 came out to the PC, PS4, Switch, and the Xbox One. Finally, March of 2022, the PS5 version came out. Why should you be excited about this game? First of all, if you're a fan of Metroidvanias, and I love Metroidvanias, if you're not familiar with what a Metroidvania is, think about like Castlevania Symphony of the Night or the original Metroid games, where of course you get the Metroidvania moniker from. Think of like a sprawling, interconnected map where over time as you play the game, you get certain upgrades and abilities that allow you to access areas of the map that you couldn't previously access. So it's kind of got that like that little hook and that backtracking thing that keeps you invested in the game. This game's no different, but what it does share with some of the best Metroidvanias is the fact that it's got those buttery smooth controls. This game is an absolute joy to play. Now, in full disclosure, I am currently playing through the game. I have not completed it yet, so what I'm going to tell you is not necessarily a review, but more of impressions of what I've seen so far. And like I said, this game is an absolute joy to play. It feels breezy, wonderful, and the way that it's laid out, it just keeps you coming back for more. It's just so well executed. The level design is fantastic, the humor, the graphics, and now it's in 4K, and plus you get all these new modes, which we'll get into soon. So, first of all, let's talk about what makes this game different from previous entries in the series. It does maintain the graphical style, the humor, the Metroidvania elements, but there are some quality of life improvements that separate this from previous iterations in the series. Specifically, in previous games, if you wanted to transform into a creature, you'd have to do a little belly dance and then do the transformation. That has been eliminated, and through new fusion magic, you can instantaneously transform into different creatures with different abilities. So that is a nice, again, quality of life improvement that they've added to this, but they haven't dispensed with the belly dancing. That is still here, but it's being used in a different way. For example, to uncover secrets in a level, or maybe breathe some life back into a dead plant or a person or a thing. So it's cool the way they've changed it to make the gameplay flow and seem more fluid. In addition to it, a nice new mechanic is the ability to equip up to 3 monster cards, and there's up to 50 you can unlock. So you're seeing a lot more depth in this from other iterations in the series, and I'm excited to see where the series is going to go from here. Going back into why you should consider getting the PS5 version if you've already bought the PS4 version or the Switch version, it's going to include the free update that came out in November 2021. So all the DLC is going to be included within the disc, whereas like I said, if you had the previous versions, you'd have to download the DLC as an update, meaning that one day, if you don't have access to an internet connection, you haven't updated the version of your PS4 or your Switch game, you may not necessarily get access to that. Whereas if you get the PS5 version of it, all of it's going to be bundled. And what do you get? 4 new game modes. First of all, you get the definitive mode, which I'm playing right now, which rebalances the game and gives it a bit more challenge. But if you're a bit more challenge adverse. It also includes a beginner's mode where basically you can't lose. So if you're newer to games, or maybe you find Metroidvanias to be a bit intimidating, this might be something more up your alley. In addition, there is a full deck mode, which starts you off with all 50 cards unlocked from the beginning. And then there's also a rule breaker mode where you can equip up to as many cards as you want, whereas in the main game, you can only equip up to 3. Again, probably just lowering the difficulty if you're finding it a bit challenging. In addition to that, there's like a new game plus mode. There's a lot of content. I believe that to kind of finish everything in this game, the main story can be completed in about 8 hours, as I've been reading. And if you want to do all the extras and bonus content, it's going to be about 12 hours. So for the price tag, you're getting a lot of value here. Let's talk about now, before we wrap up, the actual physical edition, which is what we came here to talk about. This one is only going to be for the PS5. Now, the previous versions are unfortunately no longer available via limited run games. If you want to go for a Switch version or a PS4 version, you will have to tough it out on eBay or private sellers, but at least for now, if you have the PS5, you can get this one until Sunday, May 22nd, and the price is pretty good. For the standard version, it's only $34.99 US, or about $65 Canadian. That'll get you the disc and probably the instruction manuals, but if you want to spend a bit more, you can opt to get the collector's edition for $84.99 US, or about 140 Canadian. That includes shipping and exchange, of course. And with this, you'll not only get the physical game, but you'll also get an acrylic standee, a steelbook, a CD soundtrack, a reversible poster. You're gonna get a Lobster Girl enamel pin, a Roddy Tops keychain, and finally a replica festival ticket. So a lot of cool content. Both of those are available right now for pre-order on limitedrungames.com. In addition, we're not going to get into it specifically here, but there's a lot of cool merch. If you're like the ultimate Shantae fan, you can look into some of this stuff and add that to your order. So again, guys, don't be deceived by the fact that this seems like kind of like a childlike game. This has a lot of challenge and a lot of character, and is, again, just an absolute joy to play. It just feels so seamless and wonderful, and it just keeps you coming back for more. I highly recommend this. WayForward, again, is one of the most talented developers and publishers out there. Totally worth your pre-order. This has been the 7th episode of The Collecting Confidant with your host, GunstarHero. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Later, Game Chasers. Peace.